Today we will start Chapter 5, the fundamental unit of life of class 9th. So let us start. While examining a thin slice of cork, Robert Hooke saw that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb consisting of many little compartments. Cork is a substance which comes from the bark of a tree. This was the year 1665 when he made this observation. Robert Hooke called these boxes as cells. Cells is a Latin word for a little room. So now what happened here is that while examining a thin slice of cork, first we should understand the meaning of cork. So what is cork? Cork is a substance that comes from the bark of a tree. Means like imagine that a tree is there. So its bark that bark of the tree is the cork. So corks come from the bark of a tree. So Robert Hooke saw that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb, consisting of many little compartments in it. He saw that a honeycomb. What is a honeycomb? Honeycomb is that when the honey is made, like the bees are there, they made a chatta. You call chatta it in English, in Hindi, sorry. So that the cork resembled the structure of a honeycomb, and there were many little compartments in it. There was too little. That's why he used the term little here. So cork is a substance which comes from bark of a tree. This was the year 1665. Robert Hooke has made this observation in the year 1665 through his self-designed microscope. Means he had made his own microscope, and from that he have made this observation. That's the meaning of self-designed microscope. Robert Hooke called these boxes as cells. Robert Hooke was a scientist, so that there were little compartments in it. I told you earlier that there were many little compartments in it. So he called those compartments as cells. Cell is a Latin word for a little room. Means cell means a little room. A little room. So now you should learn that what we have learned from here, that cork is a substance which comes from a bark of a tree. Robert Hooke made this observation in the year 1665 through his self-designed microscope. Robert Hooke called these boxes as cells. Cell is a Latin word for a little room. Okay, so now we will move to the next topic, that is, what are these structures? These structures look similar to each other. What is these here? These is the cells. We are talking about the structure of the cells. These structures look similar to each other. Together they form a big structure like an onion bulb. See, here it is being said that cells. What are the structure of the cell? That looks similar in each. That looks similar to each other. And together they form the big structure. Like that a human body is made up of cells. So many little compartments, many cells join together to make a big structure like an onion bulb. They look similar to each other. So what is being told here? That the structure of the cells looks similar to each other, and together they form a big structure. These small structures that we see are the building basic units of the onion bulb. These structures are called cells. That I told you. These structures are what? Cells. Not only onions, but all organisms that we observe around are made up of cells. However, there are also single cells that live on their own. Means I have told you that all human body, all the things around us are made up of little compartments called cells. There are multicellular organisms and unicellular organisms. Now we will study about them now. This table you should learn. that cells was first discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. I told you cells was discovered by Robert Hooke in 1665. Now the process you have to write, he observed the cells in a cork slice with the help of a primitive microscope or his own designed microscope. Now Leon van Hooke in 1674 with the improved microscope. Robert Hooke has made this observation with his own designed microscope, but now with his improved microscope, Leon van Hooke discovered the free living cells in pond water for first time. Now, it was Robert Brown in 1831 who discovered the nucleus. We will study about the nucleus after. Who discovered the nucleus? Purkinje in 1839 discovered the protoplasma. That is, the protoplasma is the fluid substance of the cell. The cell theory that all the plants, animals are made up of cells and cell is the basic unit of life was presented by Sheldon and Swan in 1838 and 1839. The cell theory was further expanded by Virchow in 1855. That's all cells arise from pre-existing cells. We will study about these afterwards. Now, we will move to unicellular and multicellular organisms. The invention of magnifying lenses led to the discovery of a microscopic world. It is now known that a single cell may constitute a whole organism, as in amoeba, calamidomonas, paramecium, and bacteria. These organisms are called unicellular organisms. Uni meaning single. That is, I told you, unicellular and multicellular. Unicellular organisms are those which are made up of only single cell. Only single cell is present in those. Are called unicellular organisms. Like example, amoeba, calamidomonas, paramecium, etc. Uni meaning single, means they are made up of one cell. Now multicellular organisms. Multicellular organisms are made up of many cells. Like example, fungi, plants, animals, etc. Now that Virchow gave the theory that all cells comes from pre-existing cells. We will study about that now. Every multicellular. See, they have not written unicellular organism because unicellular organisms has made up of only one cell. That's why. Now, every multicellular organism has come from a single cell. How? Cells divide to produce cells of their own kind. All cells thus comes from pre-existing cells. Means cells are there. Means example, two cells are there. They will divide. So they will produce more cells. That's why it is said that all cells comes from pre-existing cells. I hope you have understood till here now. Now let us move to next. Some organisms can also have cells of different kinds like this. Smooth muscle cell, this is a long cell. Blood cells, it is a circle type cells. Nerve cell, this is neuron. Bone cell, sperm, ovum, fat cell, etc. Now moving to the next topic. The shape and size of cells are related to the specific function they perform. Some cells like amoeba have changing shapes. Cell could be more fixed and peculiar for a particular type of cell. For example, nerve cell has typical shape. This means that the shape and size of the cell. This size will be the size of the cell and shape would be also there of the cell. So, this is that the shape and size of the cell, whether it is big, small, long, short, whatever, will be related to the specific function they perform. The function they will perform, whatever the function they will perform, according to that the size will be defined and shape. Size and shape will be defined of them. Like some cells like amoeba have changing shapes. Some cells are only there which have changing shapes, like, but Many cells have a typical shape like a nerve cell. Now, each living cell has the capacity to perform certain basic functions that are characteristic of all living forms. How does a living cell perform these basic functions? This is the question. Each living cell has a capacity, means each living cell which is living in living things are called living cells. Each living cell has the capacity to perform basic functions that are characteristic of all living forms. So, now the question arises, how does a living cell will perform these functions? Now we will know that. We know that there is a division of labor in multicellular organisms such as human beings. This means that division of labor means many body parts are performing different functions, like our ears. Ears are performing the function of listening, mouth is performing the function of speaking, eyes are performing the function of seeing. So like that, there is a division of labor in all multicellular organisms. What is division of labor? This means that different parts of human body perform different functions. Example, the human body has a heart to pump blood, a stomach to digest food, and so on. So, this is the division of labor. Division of labor can also be seen with a single cell. In fact, each such cell has got certain specific components in it, known as cell organelles. Which every cell has got basic components within it, known as cell organelles. These components are known as cell organelles. Means in each cell organelles are present. Each kind of cell organelle perform special function. Means each kind of cell organelle will perform a special function, such as example, making new material in cell, clearing up the waste material from the cell, and so on. Okay, now a cell is able to live and perform all its functions because of these organelles. Now the question was here, how does a living cell perform these basic functions? A cell is able to perform all these functions because of these organelles which are present in them. That's why these organelles together constitute the basic unit called a cell. Now I hope you have understood that. All cells are found to have the same organelles, no matter whatever their function is or what the organisms they are found in. Means that all organelles are similar, no changes there. Whatever the function they perform, like we have seen that the shape and size of the cells are related to the function they perform. No, here all cell organelles are similar, whatever their function is or what the organism they are in. I hope you have understood. Now the question is, who discovered cells and how? Why is a cell called the structural and functional unit of life? I will send you the question and answers in the last, when the chapter will be over. Now let's move to the next topic. What is a cell made up of? What is the structural organization of a cell? Now we will be knowing that how is a cell made up of. We saw above that the cell has special components called organelles. By that they perform these functions. Now we will see that how is a cell organized, how is a cell made up of. The scientists have studied that under a microscope they saw that these three features which we will be learning is present in almost every cell. That is, what are these three features? Plasma membrane, nucleus, and cytoplasm. These three features are present in almost every cell. All activities inside the cell and interactions with its environment are possible due to these three features. Let us see now how these are.